Live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to another pre-market watch list. So today, as you guys can see, we're going to be running with the new stream. So I do hope it comes through A-OK. We did run a test stream yesterday, so everything should be working okay. I know the first one in the morning did not work so well, so hopefully, again, this one goes very smoothly. So if you guys could, in the chat room, please let me know if the sound is coming through okay and if the stream is coming through okay as well before we really get going. Let's see. So good so far, Yuri. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right, so we're going to get rocking and rolling. All right, so first things we're going to do, we're going to scroll over so you guys can get a look at all the stocks that are popping up pre-market. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so as you guys can see here on this side of the screen, we're going to be having all the stocks that are gapping up and gapping down pre-market. So if you would like, you can screenshot this screen or the stocks that are gapping up or down, so at least you have that for when the stream ends. Or if you'd like to use a pencil and paper to mark down at least a few stocks here that you see. You can also see that the float is provided, so you will not have to go to FinViz or any other external source to find the amount of shares that are currently in the float. So a lot of this information will be provided to you in external sources, but I'm bringing it to you here live. So all you have to do is screenshot it with your snipping tool if you're on Windows. If you're on a Mac computer or an Apple product, you can also use the screenshot tool there. So if you're not sure how to do that, I would recommend looking it up here in the next couple days, so that way when you're on the stream with us, you can just screenshot these stocks, right? So to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, one of the top stocks here on the green scanner. The green scanner is the stocks that are gapping up, all right? First stock on there is AFMD, okay? That is going to be a penny stock that is popping up. And then a few popular ones that I'll be trading today that are on these scanners are going to be Best Buy. Best Buy is an earnings play that is gapping down. Followed by another stock, which is BILI, which is a Chinese stock, I believe, that is gapping up. And then also IQ. There's another one, Tiffany. So there's quite a few stocks on these scanners that we'll be trading here today. So I'd recommend just screenshotting these so that you guys can have them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change gears from this screen, and we're going to go in and start looking at the stocks that are currently on my watch list for today. What's going on, Andrew? Good morning, my man. All right, guys, so here we are. Let me scroll over. All right, so let's get going on this. So first stock that will be on my watch list is probably going to be Best Buy. Okay, Best Buy is probably going to be my main play for the day. All right, so if you look at the yearly chart here on Best Buy, you will see that it hit a 52-week high of 84. And then it had its earnings, and it's dropped from, up towards 83, 84, all the way to a low pre-market today of 75. So it's already had about a $10 drop from yesterday's opening price, okay? So looking at this chart now, you can see that Best Buy kind of bounced pre-market around $75.48, okay? If you look at Best Buy's chart, whether it's yearly or the 180-day 4-hour chart, as long as you're looking at a long time frame, you'll be able to clearly see that Best Buy has a resistance, or not resistance, a support all throughout this $76 to $75 price point. So I'll mark those off right now, and I'll make these a little bit bigger for you so you can see them easier. All right, so as you can see, those two lines there on the chart, Best Buy is kind of bouncing pre-market around $75, $76. And if you were to look, if you were to look back in time, you'll see that the $75 to $76 area is all kind of a choppy consolidation from a few months back. So it makes sense that Best Buy is kind of bouncing around that area pre-market today. So in theory, we could see Best Buy go lower, but it's got a lot of support that's all built up here, right? There's a lot of support built up, a lot of sideways chopping, a lot of consolidation. So what I highly recommend is to keep Best Buy on your watch, but don't think for a second that it's just going to be a smooth ride down on Netflix today, that it's just going to start breaking through 75 or even 76. So the way I anticipate trading Netflix today is most likely short, based on its gap down. Probably going to be focusing on it short. I'm hoping that Best Buy doesn't get too crowded. Best Buy, I think, will be it is one of the major big brand names today. And whenever you get a major big brand name, every once in a while they can get a little overcrowded with volume and people trading them, and then they get choppy, and then they end up being a pain in the ass to trade. So we don't want that, but it might end up happening. So my game plan here is first to mark off all these pre-market levels. So you're going to have one at 78.88. You'll have another one here at 78.45. Might as well just call that 78.50. All right, you got one here at 78.50. And that really does it. You also have a support here at 77. So this, I'm going to draw it out, is how I anticipate trading it. Ideally, on these gap downs, once they're gapping down and they bounce and they kind of put on these pops and all these levels in pre-market, ideally, when we're trying to short these, when the market opens, first we always want to see them pop up to one of these levels and fail and then come back down, as that provides for a bigger area of profit. It provides a better chance for profit. What we don't want to see is it just kind of fade and then just drop out of the gates, because it's always a challenge to get in on the first 1 minute candle. There's always a higher risk to getting in on the first 1 minute candle, or even sometimes the second 1 minute candle. Again, if the first 1 minute candle starts to dump, a lot of times what's going to happen is it can move so fast that when you try to get in, you're going to get a bad fill, or you won't get filled. So ideally, we always want to see these gap downs first spike up, roll, and then drop, right? So ideally, we're going to be watching Best Buy short around any one of these key levels here at $78.50 or even $79. And if for whatever reason it could break through these resistances, we'll look to get short off the 200 exponential moving average on the intraday chart. All right, so we'll be trying to do Best Buy short today. If Best Buy starts breaking up through these key levels and doesn't want to come down, the bias should flip to long. Okay, if it starts getting through 79, 78.50, and then up and over the 200 moving average, that's at that point you want to start thinking long bias on Best Buy. If for whatever reason Best Buy can get up and over 78.50, 79, and then through the 200 moving average, this is when you can come into a possible scenario where you might see the stock actually go all the way up on the day, back to its initial price before it started dropping. Okay, so if Best Buy does somehow manage to get over the 200 moving average, you could see it move all the way back up, very close to the initial price point before it starts to dump out. And then that is where you want to look to get short, right there, because there will be a lot of sellers there waiting to sell out. And then once it hits the highs, it usually will start dumping from there. Okay, so this level is very key for a short if in fact it can get all the way up. But before it can do that, it first needs to tell us that it does not want to come down off any one of these prior key levels. Okay, so again, mark off those key levels to possibly get in short on Best Buy today. Best Buy may never, in fact, even get up there. It might provide itself with a bearish pattern prior to even moving up there, and that's something you'll have to determine for yourself in that split second while the trading day is taking place. Okay. Let's see. Best Buy right now, I don't think they normally have that big of a spread. It's probably going to be anywhere from about 10 cents to 20 at any given time. Yeah, right now it's about a 10-cent spread, and that's probably what you can expect unless it starts to move really fast. When stocks start moving fast, the spread increases, and that's a way for the market maker to kind of make some extra pennies on his trades, okay? When it's moving slower, you know, the spread will tend to be a little bit tighter. There's a lot of scenarios that play into spread, but it's probably going to be a pretty reasonable spread today. All right, guys, moving on to the next stock here is going to be, we'll take a look at BILI. So BILI is a Chinese stock, I believe, and it gapped up after hours, and it's still kind of gapping up a little bit here pre-market. So definitely going to be watching this one. Now, I'm not crazy with the way it looks. At this current moment in time, with the way BILI looks, I would like to be a little bit cautious trading it initially right out of the gates, okay? So let's take a look here at the 180-day chart. So the 180-day chart doesn't look, well, it looked better last night, honestly, but what we can see here from the 180-day chart is that BILI has put in a higher low, so it is starting to uptrend off of the lows here at 9. Now, if we were to draw a trend line from this location down following these two candles, it will say that this trend line right now would be the breakout on this move, right? So ideally, if I go back to the, like 1 minute chart, we have currently broken out over that level, okay? If we go a 5-day chart or 5-minute chart, shall we say, we have broken over that trend line resistance. So theoretically, BILI has already started to break out to the upside here pre-market. So in my personal opinion, I will be watching BILI long today. If this picks up in momentum and starts really moving, okay, you can see here it's kind of breaking out. If this picks up in momentum and really starts moving, what we want to see is we want to see BILI get over this price point of $13. $13 is a very key level. Ready? $13 bounce, $13 bounce, $13 bounce, $13 bounce, $13 breakdown, $13 breakdown, $13 rejection so far. We want to see BILI get over 13. If it can do that, we should get a nice breakout and a good pop to the upside. Considering the average true range to BILI, it's very possible with its earnings day and with enough people trading it, and it breaks out of this key level of 13, we could see BILI possibly go on a run up towards $14, which would then be the next sign of resistance. So at this point, BILI for me is a long if we can get up and over the $13 price point with an end game target of $14. Okay. On to the next one, AFMD. Let's see. And I will be going over AMD at least once here. Okay, so AMFD, as you can see, has gapped up. It's up currently like 160% or maybe 170%. So it's up pretty big. You can see that, right? So for me personally, I'm not really crazy about it all to begin with because it has a 44 or 45 million share float. So it has a relatively medium float, kind of high, which means this isn't going to trade like your typical penny stock. With just enough volume and a low float penny stock, they can pop up dollars per share. This one isn't that case because it has a 44 million share float, which means it's going to move, it's not going to move as big of values. The only way it would move extraordinarily fast if there was a ton of volume. So based on what it's doing so far, I could see that AFMD could be a good trader on the day. It's gapping up really big. It most likely has some news. If you check the news, there's some news on it right now. Something about a price target raised, maintained for an outperform by BMO Capital. So regardless, this is something to keep on watch for a possible long and also a possible short. But what I believe is going to happen is everyone's going to wake up today and they're going to go, holy cow, AFMD is up really big. So anybody that was already in the stock will probably be looking to sell when the market opens. So we're going to probably look at some type of a wash initially and short sellers coming in trying to drive the price down. It will then most likely hit one of these support levels, right? Whether it's this one here or if it's this one here. And then we're going to see it probably go for a red to green move squeeze. All right, so what I would do if I were to trade AFMD today, or if you're going to be trading AFMD, is to watch it carefully for an initial drop out of the gates, and then for it to find some support down here on one of these support levels from back here, right? And then look for it as a long bias trade as it curls back around and tries to squeeze up any short sellers that may have entered into the stock, okay? And that'll be the game plan for AFMD. As far as how high AFMD could go, I mean, who knows, right? Because if you look at the yearly chart, it's into a 52-week high on the yearly chart. So now it's more or less going by every 25 cent, 50 cent, and a whole dollar mark for AFMD. All right, guys, on to our next stock here will be IQ. So I kind of like IQ. I'm not head over heels about it, but I do see that it has potential. So in our private group yesterday, we did mention to watch IQ for a long as we anticipated it would squeeze. Now, if you look at AFMD today, it's up testing this $32 area. So what's significant about the $32 area? Well, $32 was a rally point of bounces, resistance, support for a long time. So if IQ can get up and over 32, we could be looking at a really, really big push to the upside, okay? Why is that? Well, because I know for a fact that at $32, we're going to have a lot of short sellers that have entered short there when the stock started to break down. $32 is a key level resistance. So if we can break 32, you're going to have this pickup of volume for momentum day traders coming in, trying to buy the breakout. If we can get up and over 32 by maybe 10, 20 cents, then we're going to start hitting short seller stop losses, and we'll start squeezing the price even further, which then might bring in FOMO traders who are not wanting to miss out on the move. They might drive the price even higher. So over 32 could provide great potential on the stock IQ today. So I'd highly recommend watching IQ for a long bias trade over 32. Okay, don't be early to the party before 32 unless you can really tell it's about to move. It's already seeing a little bit of resistance pre-market at 32. So let's go back to the 1-minute chart and take a look. As you can see, we broke 32 briefly, right? And then we're kind of hovering it. So I do believe IQ could be a very good long bias trade over 32. So if it can pop over 32 and hold, or show a pop over and some very bullish signals, whether that's a strong candle, strong buying volume, bids racking up on the level 2, your time and sales window going green, reading the tape green, whatever that signal may be to you to indicate that it's a strong long bias trade once it breaks up and over, that's what you need to do to determine it, right? At the end of the day, I do think above 32 could be a nice run on IQ, so we'll be watching IQ long bias today, okay? Now, next one that I will talk about here, it will be AMD. All right, so AMD. Now, I know everybody's been talking, and I will touch on Cron as well a little bit. So AMD, all right, let's just look at the yearly chart. So what does the yearly chart tell us? The yearly chart tells us that the price all right, read that caption there. The price is very overextended to the upside, and many short sellers have now started thinking about shorting the stock. Yes, that's true. This is very true, okay? At this current price point and after this current push that we've seen take place on AMD, it has now entered a very overextended, it has now become very overextended in terms of its moving average resistance and momentum that it has seen in these past trading days. When stocks go parabolic to the upside like this and go on massive runs, they then start to be put on a short seller watch list because they're so extended. They are usually going to be due for a big pullback. Okay, so at this current price, I can tell you that a lot of short sellers are starting to look at possibly shorting the stock. I myself am looking at possibly shorting the stock. So that should give you long bias traders a heads up on how short sellers are starting to think about pushing the price on this stock down. All right. Secondly, if you look at the chart here on AMD, there is a big seller's candle on the daily chart. That right there is what we call the inverted hammer candle, okay? Inverted hammer candle at the top of an uptrend. That's a signal for a downward move yet to come. Does it guarantee it's going to go down? No, but it is in fact a strong sign that sentiment has started to turn bearish on this particular run. Okay? So let's look at a 180-day chart, because a 180-day chart says otherwise. So though the daily chart looks bearish, the 180-day chart shows that it's trying to push higher. But what we're getting now is what we would now call a lower high, where AMD this morning tried to push up pre-market and failed. This could result in what we would call a lower high fail, and now the stock is ready to come down. Okay? So what we'll be doing is watching AMD short today to see if we start getting a breakdown. Okay? Before entering short, really the best area to probably enter short on this so you don't get faked out will most likely be below 25.50. So below 25.50 for me is probably the safer area to get short. You also have to watch out because there is support at 25 pretty heavy, but 25.50, if that breaks down, would probably be your kind of key level to try and get short on the stock. So we will watch that. And the reason I would be, the reason I don't want to get short before 25.50 is because it has a lot of support there. So, right, like pre-market, look at the 25.50, right? This is pre-market and after hours, 25.50. Look at all that support. So to get short bias before that would probably put you into a situation where it's not going to pan out very well, right? And then at 25, you could see it had one bounce, two bounce, three, four, a couple times it bounced in that area. Now, I will say this, the $25 area yesterday was also accommodated by the 200 moving average support at the same time. So not only was there $25 mental support, there was a 200 moving average support. So it's kind of like a double support right at that time, right? So to me, it makes sense that it bounced and held support at 25, considering there was two reasons for it to bounce there: mental support at 25 and moving average support at 25. So coming into today, I think that there won't be quite as much support if it were to fall to 25, and with the sentiment possibly turning bearish, there might be more of a panic sell-off leading to 25, which then might accelerate it straight through 25. So a lot of things that could take place here. You got to play it as the day goes. But for me, I would not personally be looking to get short on AMD unless it can break that 25.50s area. And then there would be a first target at 25 to take some profit, and then maybe hold a little bit, anticipating that we'll get that breakdown at $25. Okay. Let's see. Just reading some comments here, guys. All right. So now that I'm covered on AMD, we will go and talk about Cron, because we know the whole world's over here wondering what's going on. So as you can see, Cron is selling off here pre-market. So this is expected, right? We expect Cron to do this. The thing is massively overextended. It's way overbought. I mean, it's obvious, right? You know, it's like if you eat donuts, right? If you eat donuts and candy every day of your life, you're probably gonna, gain some weight. I mean, it's just bound to happen unless you have a crazy metabolism. But again, it's bound to happen. If you go and you work out 5 days a week, chances are you're gonna probably start getting a little bit more fit. Same thing with Cron. The thing was extremely extremely overbought. The only thing that makes sense for it to do is have a big pullback, and that's what we're starting to see. So this should not surprise anyone. And if it does, take a little bit more time learning the market and the way stocks work, for sure. Now, as you can see, pre-market, it's coming down. Okay, so we can see pre-market, it's dropped, right? So where is it at now? Where is it at? It's currently at a support level, right? All this choppy sideways trading action around the $12 area is exactly where it's at today. So I would anticipate when the market opens, we're probably going to see a little bit of a squeeze back up to probably $12.83, maybe even $12. Ooh, that's actually probably a better one. So yeah, just be patient. I think we're probably going to see Cron squeeze back up towards the $12, and well, there's a couple areas it could squeeze to. Yeah, we'll probably see it pop up towards $12.40 or $12.50. Probably $12.50, maybe $12.60, and then if it gets over there, it's probably $12.80. So watch Cron today. Be more short bias on the stock, but I can tell you, I probably won't be shorting Cron. Probably not. I need to see a first red day setup first. This is not a first red day, okay? I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of a first red day setup, but not really. It's more of a, we tried to go green, now we're coming down, we run the risk of bouncing, we're not quite ready what the hell we want to do. So this could cause for another choppy trading day. Very possible. We'll still watch it. If there appears to be a good setup, we might trade it. But at this point, I probably wouldn't mess with Cron today. And again, Cron kind of reminds me of, hold on. Cron reminds me of the stock HEARECYT and Intelstat, where a lot of us tried to short them for a long time and they never came down. I will say this, that this stock has gone more parabolic than all those three that I mentioned, but, you know, I'm just not overly excited about shorting this one at all. So I'll probably just say for most of you guys just to stay away from it for at least right now. It's overextended. Let it pull back, let it consolidate, let it show us what it really wants to do. There are tons of signs that are pointing towards a short, but I think that this thing has been so overcrowded and so overly bought by so many people that it's going to be an extremely hard short to pan out. I don't think the short's going to pan out the way that everybody is anticipating and hoping. At this current point, everybody is thinking that Cron, CRON, is just going to dump, right? It's just going to cut its head off and just fall. And I don't think that's the case, right? If you look at the amount of volume, this is, I think a lot of people are treating Cron right now as a typical penny stock. When it's not right now. It isn't a typical penny stock, okay? It did not start from penny stock, right? Before this move happened, it wasn't even a penny stock. It was close. It was actually over $5. So it theoretically wasn't even a penny stock. It's still not a penny stock, okay? Not to mention, if you look at the volume on Cron for the past, let's do a week, right? Let's do a 3-year week, right? If you look at the volume on Cron for the past 2 weeks, let's say 3 weeks, that's 18, that's 109 and 67. So 18 and 109. So what you're at 128, right? 128 plus 67, 128, that's 180. So you had 190, like 194 million shares traded in 3 weeks. Guess what? Penny stocks don't typically trade 194 million shares in 3 weeks. At least not the majority. And most of the ones that have these massive shorts that most people are thinking is going to happen don't typically trade 194 million shares of volume in 3 weeks. Probably has happened at some point, but not very common. So to me, 194 million shares of volume, there's a lot of people buying. Think about it. Majority of the volume has all been buying. No selling yet, really. So this tells me sentiment's still to the upside. and I don't quite think we're going to see a massive short play on this, at least not the way others are anticipating. There will be some type of downwards move, but not that big slam-a-jammer that everybody is really hoping for, okay? Anywho, so that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is all the stocks that I will be covering today here on the watch list. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Before you guys head out, would love if you guys could give me a like, a share, and a subscribe if you have not already done so. And I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for the next pre-market watch list. And if you're wondering, we try to start here around 8:30, maybe get it on around 8:35 a.m. This is also pre-recorded, so you can always go back to watch the video at a later time frame. All right, take care, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow morning for the next